There is a great deal of excitement in Puerto Rico this evening, even a sense that a revolution has been mounted against the island's government and Governor Ricardo Rossello. While the celebrations are underway, as John Yang tells us, there are enormous challenges ahead.
There was jubilation in the streets of San Juan today for the thousands of protesters who had demanded the resignation of Puerto Rico Governor Ricardo Rossello. Last night, outside his official residence in Old San Juan, demonstrators huddled around their phones awaiting Rossello's announcement.
Despite having a mandate from the people who elected me democratically, today I feel that continuing in this position presents insurmountable difficulties. Having heard the complaints, I've made the following decision. I announce to you today that I will be resigning as governor, effective Friday, August 2nd.
The reaction was immediate.
We wanted Ricky to leave not just because of the obscenities and insults we've seen on chat messages, but because of the corruption we've put up with for decades. Within this ruckus, Puerto Rico has demanded some respect.
Rossello's final crisis was sparked nearly 2 weeks ago with corruption charges against 6 members of his administration. Then came a leak of offensive chat messages between Rossello and his aides that denigrated women, LGBTQ people, political opponents, and even hurricane survivors. And amid growing protests, Puerto Rican lawmakers said they would begin impeachment proceedings if Rossello refused to resign. The scandal resulted in more than a dozen resignations, including the island's Secretary of State, who was poised to succeed Rossello. Now Justice Secretary Wanda Vazquez is in line for the office. But some Puerto Ricans say she was not aggressive enough in pursuing an investigation into the leaked chat messages. For many residents, the frustration reflects years of economic recession, austerity measures imposed by the Financial Control Board created by Congress, and anger over corruption and a sluggish government response to 2017's Hurricane Maria. The succession process, already complicated by cabinet vacancies, is far from settled. Analysts say someone other than Justice Secretary Vazquez could end up as governor. New York Times correspondent Frances Robles has been covering the unfolding drama in San Juan, which is where she is tonight, and joins us by Skype. Frances Robles, thanks for being with us. We saw the scenes of the jubilation of the people on the streets of San Juan today. As you were out there talking to them, what does this moment mean to them?
This is a critical juncture, John. I mean, for one thing, it's a victory. There's no other way to describe it. They see this as a popular uprising in which the people of Puerto Rico won, but it's also a key moment because if they use this opportunity to put kind of a same old character of the same old party politics in the position as governor, then it's going to be a huge setback to them. And people are very, very wary of that.
And talk about that, because as we mentioned, the Justice Secretary is in line because of the cabinet vacancy of the Secretary of State. But does she command a lot of support?
Oh, not at all. I mean, you already see, there was hashtags Ricky renuncia, which is, telling the governor to resign. And there's plenty of hashtags and graffiti on the walls saying Wanda renuncia. They don't want her, and she's had some problems in terms of investigations, in terms of meddling in cases of her family. She used to be the ombudswoman for the Women's Affairs Office, and the feminist groups didn't like her. So she is a really complicated candidate for that position, and I don't even think she wants it.
The succession is dictated by the Constitution. Is there a way that Vazquez could not be the successor under the Constitution?
I think there's a really good chance that Vazquez is not going to be the successor. Her statement last night was really telling. She said something like, I will assume this responsibility if necessary. And the key there was if necessary. So the trick really is going to be that the governor has this vacancy in his cabinet, the Secretary of State position. He is still governor until next Friday, and he is within his rights until next Friday to fill that position. And so if he fills that position, and if that person is confirmed by the Senate and the House of Puerto Rico, then that person is going to become governor of Puerto Rico, not the Secretary of Justice.
So much of the frustration that was expressed in these demonstrations against Rossello came from deep-seated problems, the economy, the debt crisis, the Financial Control Board that's because of the debt crisis. How much is going to be solved by Rossello leaving, and how much is going to be sort of hard slogging ahead?
A lot of it is endemic, but a lot of it isn't endemic. Some of it a lot of the discontent here has very specifically to do with what this administration did, how it handled hurricane recovery, how it handled the deaths, the corruption of members of its administration. So while the endemic issues are not going to go away, if they have a new administration that seems much more responsive to the people, I think that person could have more success.
What are the chances
But
of
there's no question that it's a big challenge. Yeah, it's going to be a really tough challenge.
I mean, will they? I mean, the corruption that's been described in the system seems pretty deep-seated. Is this new regime, the new governor, really going to be more responsive to the people?
That's a really good question. I mean, that's the question everyone's waiting for an answer on. If they hire, and they are basically hiring a governor because they're naming a person they know is about to become governor, a party hack, the people are not going to have it. I mean, they'll be inviting for all of those people to hit back the streets again tomorrow because they now have had that taste of victory, and they now know, well, hold on a second, our vote, our say does matter here. And so that's the question. Can they find a person who's not just about the same old party machinery, giving contracts to their cronies and embezzling money? I mean, that's the history of Puerto Rico that people are trying to change.
Could this sense of victory and sense of empowerment lead to a greater push for more sovereignty on the part of Puerto Rico?
I don't know, because you have to remember that a lot of the people that were on the street were people that want statehood. So the beauty of this movement was that it was people of all of the different parties, the people who want more sovereignty, the people who want full sovereignty, and the people who want to join the union. It wasn't about that. That was the first time in Puerto Rican politics that an issue, a problem, a crisis did not boil down to party lines here. And so that was kind of what was really special about it.
Frances Robles of the New York Times from San Juan, thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.